Okay, so moving along with our development process, now we're at step 5 of enhancing the product list component to read the category ID parameter. So let's move down to our components, and we'll move down to ProductListComponent.ts. Zoom out real quick and expand this window. And one thing I'd like to do is just kind of clean up some of the extra stuff that I have here. So lines 8 and 9, and we have these template URLs that we're really not using. Let's just go ahead and delete those and just get rid of them, because right now we're focusing on the template URL that uses our product list grid. So we'll keep that. Okay, so moving into our product list component, let's add a new property here for current category ID. And we'll also inject the current route, or we'll inject the activated route. So I'll say private route, and I give the type of activated route. So that's the current active route that loaded the component. It's useful for accessing the route parameters, because we need that for accessing a given category ID. So in my ngInt on init, I'll make a small modification to simply do a subscribe on the param map for this given route. And now I simply move down to the list products method. I'll write a quick comment here as far as the code that I need to write. So I'll check to see if the ID parameter is available, just so I know if I can use that value or if I need to make use of a default value. So here I set up a Boolean has category ID. I make use of this.route.snapshot.param_map has. This returns true or false if this given parameter is available. So let's swing in and break it down here. So we use the activated route, the state of the route at this given moment in time. Param_map is the map of all the route parameters, and we read the given ID parameter. If it's available, it returns true. If not, returns false. And remember, it's going to come in on that link. So category /1. So that's the actual ID based on our route configuration. So the :ID that gives that actual parameter that given name. And now if it has the category ID, then we simply need to read that category ID and convert it to a number. So here I make the assignment. I'll say this.currentCategoryID equals plus, and the plus is for the conversion. This.root.snapshot.param_map.get the actual ID. And again, remember the parameter value is returned as a string, so we use the plus symbol to convert to a number. And then remember earlier I said, our component will actually give a default value. So If the category ID is not available, then we'll simply default to category ID of 1. And this is the logic that we're adding to our given component. We could set the default value to anything, but in this case, I'll just use category 1. Alrighty, so that looks good as far as reading the category ID from the root param map or just defaulting. Now I need to actually get the products for this given category ID. So I'll need to make some updates to my product service. I'll say get product list and I'll pass in this current category ID. So say, hey service, give me products for this given ID. Now right now we don't have this method that takes a parameter. So we'll actually have to kind of fix this or enhance this. So at the moment, I'll simply go into this product service and I'll update this method to accept a parameter for number. So I'm in my product service here and I will say the category ID : number. But now we still don't know how we'll actually do that on the back end or make the call to the back end. So I'll just put a little to-do statement here, just a little reminder to myself that I have more work to do. And so basically I need to build a URL based on the given category ID that's passed in and call the appropriate Spring Boot app URL. But I'll actually come back to this later once I figure out what the actual URL is for the Spring Boot app. So now swinging back to our product list component, that's where I'm at right now, just scrolling down. So that's taken care of. So get product list, passing in the category ID. Now it knows about this given method parameter. There's still some work to do, but at least the code compiles so far.